Let's see what we get. So far it looks quite trashy. Like, this is just red, not gonna use that. Like, shark tooth, arrow quiver. Trash loot. Cannot use that. That is a lot of weed and shit. Not a lot of that. Let's select the port. I don't. How much wheat do I realistically need? I don't think I'll need like 50. So what we got over here? Any upgrades? 700 gold. Not gonna happen anytime soon. Then we sell this bad boy. Is there some kind of... No, that's just graphics. I thought it was some kind of gem. I guess this is good if you have like a range character. Bismuth and Pimkin. Okay, so I need to upgrade that stuff at some point. With up to 4 link sockets. That is a lot. Okay. So we go to Ebony Barracks. And then we get going. Kill General Grievous. We'll do that. What were we doing spec wise? Doing this one, I guess. Imperial Gardens, probably not. So back when I was starting my own IT company and we weren't making any money, the only reason we survived and didn't go like financially bankrupt, like it was back in 2017, it was because I took a loan from the bank. I loaned as much money as I could, and then I invested it all into wheat stocks. So like that was kind of make it or break it, and I was lucky that wheat stocks did really well that year. So if it wasn't for wheat, like my IT business and game development in a career would never have happened. So I am thankful for wheat every single day. It saved my life. And it was such a weird time because like we weren't making any money. We were trying to figure everything out. Weed was starting to be legalized in Canada as like the most famous place for it being legalized, but it hadn't been legalized yet, so nobody really knew the market. And like my conclusion was that people already want to break the law to smoke weed, so there's a clear clientele for it, and there's a very proven customer base, and they want to go quite far to do it. And it's rare to see the same kind of like studies and information for different businesses. It's not like people are breaking the law to use Facebook or Google or anything like that. At least not on a regular basis in the West. But people are regularly breaking the law to consume weed in one way or another. So obviously there's a high demand for this product. So I was thinking this business is gonna be the highest growing industry in the next 5 to 10 years. How could it not? Like, there's such a strong demand for it. So it felt like such a safe investment, so I wasn't that worried. So biggest loan I could take from the bank, and then just put it all into wheat stocks. That sounds nice. Yeah, this one sounds like the best option. And then I was just lucky that most of the wheat stocks that year increased like 5x, 10x, whatever. And that really kept the lights on and allowed me to keep paying the rent and give us a roof over our head. But if that hadn't worked out, I would probably have been quite fucked.
Watch yourself.
And looking at wheat stocks now, they are way lower, like market cap, than they were back then. So I'm also really happy that I sold at that amount, like at that time. What is the smart thing to do here? Realistically, I don't really use this. So I would rather do this. But I'm really surprised seeing wheat stock valuation today, like, being so low. But my understanding is there's been a huge problem with regulation and profitability, and also just oversupply, which I think is because my understanding is it's because the industry is being taxed so like as heavily as it is, so it's not really outcompeting the black market sellers and growers, and it's not approved, like it doesn't have enough proven medical like what the fuck benefits yet, because most countries, they don't allow research into it because it is an illegal substance, so it's very limited, and doctors don't want to prescribe it without a lot of case studies and so on, which I completely support. I don't want medicine prescribed to me if there's not a solid foundation of knowledge for it's gonna work. And I'm not gonna research it myself. Like, I expect the doctor to know that best. So it's a really weird place. I would still expect the wheat industry to at least match the alcohol industry. It is a safer and more easier manageable substance if you do want to get bust on anything. And my understanding is it doesn't really provide the same option for aggressiveness that alcohol does, and you can't really overdose on it. So the risks are much lower in it. And if you do edibles and stuff like that, it just seems like a safer and more chill way. But yeah, we'll see what the future brings. You never really know. It's gonna be interesting to see if buying into wheat stocks now is gonna be a good investment or not. It probably won't match the 2017 era, but they're on such a low evaluation at the moment. But they might also just go bankrupt. And at this point, it's really hard to know which of the companies that are gonna rule the industry, because it's so fragmented and nobody is really slamming it out of the water. Like, they all heavily indebted themselves to grow as fast as possible, and then the returns just wasn't really there to pay back the debt. So they're all kind of fucked at this point. Converting debt to shares and like raising money by doing, I forgot what it's called. Basically creating new shares and selling them, so you dilute your existing owners. But the alternative is going bankrupt, and sometimes you just have to do that. What's it called? Like a... Huh. Oh well. Oop, oop, oop. But I feel like right now we see the same trends in AI, just on a much bigger scale, because nobody knows what the future of AI is gonna hold. But everybody's trying to invest into it because it's the new black, and anybody who solves like true AI will just make a shit ton of cash. Like at this point we cannot really imagine what the market value of delivering AI is. Because imagine if you could replace most development companies and entertainment companies and all of that by just providing an AI who did whatever you wanted. Like, if you could, instead of Siri being like, hey ChatGPT, show, like, I want to watch a show kind of like Game of Thrones, but where the last 2 or 3 seasons didn't suck completely. So what would actually have happened in season 6, 7, and 8, I think it was, if they didn't have to rush everything and they could expand the season so it made sense. So you could get those 5 seasons or whatever that it needed to finish up properly. Like, who's gonna compete with that? And like, hey, instead of Rings of Power, show me a proper prequel to Lord of the Rings, which are based on the Silmarillion or whatever it's called, that actually takes place or that actually respects the law. Or show me a Witcher show that respects the law. Or show me a World of Warcraft movie where the Alliance soldiers doesn't look like they got their armor from a toy store. Like, if you could just do that because you had access to AI, like, you essentially take the market share of Microsoft, Apple, anything that's not directly hardware, right? And all entertainment companies, Disney, Blizzard, Microsoft again, Sony, Ubisoft, whatever, and you just combine that into one company that's gonna rule everything. Like, gonna rule everything digital. It's gonna be completely fucking crazy, and I don't think we truly understand the ramifications today and how that's gonna change the market. And then the question is, like now, for example, if you look at Nvidia stock, it has increased, what was it? It had increased like 160% this year. Like, that's fucking insane. And now it's dropping, so I think it's down to have only increased 100%. So you would only have doubled your money if you had bought it like at the start of the year. And I'm not sure if it's still the most valuable company in the world or if it's only on top 3 now. It's probably only top 3. But still, like, it's gonna be peanuts compared to if they actually solve AI. Like, it's just gonna be on a whole nother level. And the weird thing is, if you solve AI, you also kind of make the AI company redundant to some degree, right? Because if you have a true AI and unrestricted AI, you don't need, I guess you need the hardware part, right? Because you need somewhere where the AI can actually operate and compute shit. But in theory, like, yeah, it could just live by infecting all computers in the world and spread out its computation amongst everything, and no protection, like no human protection would be strong enough to yeah, no human-made firewall would be strong enough to protect against the AI. So then you would see AI firewalls protecting against AI attacks and shit. It's gonna be some crazy times when that happens. And so much before we get to that point, like, I think there's a true problem with AI right now that people aren't really discussing and they're kind of neglecting. So let's put some context to this. A lot of people are talking about how AI are stealing, like AI art is stealing because it's based off other artists' works and so on. And first of all, like, that argument is just completely retarded and not thought through at all. Because every art is built on top of something else, and every artist has drawn inspiration from something else. So if you want to use that argument for anything, then you can only do it if you make art without drawing any references or inspiration from the outside world. But nobody does that. We are always inspired and building on top of what came before. An example of this would be like the Warcraft universe, for example. That is obviously based off Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And he might have based it on something else. He most likely have. I don't fucking know. But almost all fantasy that we know today with elves, orcs, and dwarves and shit, that's based off Lord of the Rings. So anytime anyone has ever drawn an orc or anything, well, they've been trained on earlier, they've been trained on other artists, like products and so on. So it's the same, like the only difference is it's a human looking at things and learning and improving instead of a computer. But like, for some reason it's wrong when a computer does it, but it's okay when a human does it. And if you ever look at any like art tutorial or whatever, most of them will tell you to find source material and find inspiration, but don't copy, but use it for reference. Like, how does a hand look like? How does a head look like? What is anatomy? It's not like you're studying anatomy yourself. You're looking at these references, right? Just like an AI model learning things. It's no different. Except you're a biological being and you have feelings and you get sad when a computer does the same thing as you and you don't get paid to do it. So that argument doesn't make any fucking sense. That's just stupid. So I'm gonna ignore that argument just because it's too stupid. But the true problem with AI that nobody really talks about, I haven't seen anybody talk about this, and this is what I'm worried about the most, is that like the primary reason anyone creates anything and posts online like nowadays is not solely because of passion or interest or anything like that. It's more because there's a chance of like monetary gain, right? If you really like baking and you start making a YouTube baking channel, hopefully it starts off because you just like baking and want to share with the world, right? But most people probably do it because they want to be a YouTube baker who earns a living just baking on YouTube and sharing, or like playing games online or whatever, talking about random shit. like some people will do it for free, of course, but a lot of information today, especially online, is posted and created with the hope of like some kind of monetary gain or the possibility of it. And when you remove those impressions and people going on the site, and you just have one AI web crawling, like, or crawling the entire web, like now you no longer get those ad impressions, and you no longer get that ad revenue or visitors to your site buying your merch or whatever that you would have done if it was a normal human being, or a real human being going in there. So my concern is that removing this monetary incentive will reduce the knowledge production we have over the, like, it's not gonna start today and it's not gonna start this year, but we might start seeing the effects in 2, 3, 5 years, depending on how fast AI moves. And when we start seeing that people are no longer, like, it's no longer a viable business doing all of these whatever channels they're doing, because they no longer get revenue from the ads and visitors, then we start seeing knowledge not being generated as much. Because right now AI can do a lot of things, and it can create new things based on existing things. But I think we will need humans for a while yet to push new ideas and creativity and so on. So we will see a drop in new content because it's no longer viable. You will see your favorite creators and YouTubers and recipe creators and so on. You will see them having to stop doing what they love because they can no longer make a living off it, because nobody watches it anymore. And I think that's gonna be an interesting day when that happens. And I'm looking forward to seeing the conversations around that. But so far nobody is concerned about it and nobody is talking about it. And that's scary to me in a lot of ways. And I think like the companies positioning themselves as AI companies, they need to think about it. Because if they don't have this data to build on and to provide to their users and so on, like their AI models will also lose value in that time, and it will kind of stagnate for a while until the technology like frog leaps onto the next level where it no longer needs the human input as much, and it can start creating something completely new, and it becomes more powerful, and it's no longer just about crawling the web and making, like, giving you the information more concise or structured in a different way. And that is what AI does today. Like, when you ask ChatGPT, all it really does is web crawling, like crawling the web, and then it finds the info you ask for, and then it gives you in a way that it believes you want. And I think that's completely fine. Like, I don't see a problem with that. But Microsoft and Facebook and Google and so on, they need to start to find a way where they can subsidize the revenue losses they are incurring on the creators of this information, just to encourage them to keep going. And that could be, instead of uploading it on random sites, they upload it now on the Microsoft portal. So now the Microsoft AI or AIs, whatever, can now use that data and deliver it Like, wasn't it Google who bought Reddit's data and are training their AIs and Reddit data? I would probably have found better sources, but yeah, like then they can just buy data from normal human beings, and you can get into like a creator program, like we see so many other places where you can get maybe a fixed salary, or you can get paid based on how much that data is used and how relevant people found it, just like you basically do today. So if it's something people are searching for and they find the results nice, then you get paid kind of like ad revenue. And the problem with that is that none of these AI companies are anywhere near profitability yet under AI, so they have no interest or incentives in trying to like give money to other people, because they don't have enough money for themselves at the moment. So I think we will get into this stagnation of knowledge creation at some point, and we will get to a point where manual jobs will, at least for a while, create more value and will have a higher salary, and it will be easier to find a manual job than it is to find like a, let's call it knowledge creation or something like a digital job. So it's gonna be interesting to see that being flipped around, where it will no longer be the, what the fuck did I build? Oh, where it will no longer be the best to be highly educated in like for computers or whatever. What is this? But it will actually be better to know how to repair a car, or I don't even fucking know. I don't do, or like build a house or whatever, be an electrician or something. It's going a lot better than last time. This is much more fun. To some extent, I wish I had more time to read, like what the fuck these things does. But hey, I just pop the raging spirits and then they do their thing. Did I win? Easy. Easiest game of my life. Light chest. Ooh. Ooh. I'm looking forward to seeing what country solves universal income first, or if we're just gonna live in dystopian worlds where we all become like subhumans, like anybody who doesn't own the AI factories and similar, we just become subhumans, and anybody who doesn't own real estate or something like that. Because no matter what happens with AI, and no matter how advanced AI gets, humans need somewhere to live. Sure, those buildings could be produced by AI and so on, but someone needs to pay for the materials and so on, and yeah, and maintaining them. And sure, at some point robots could do that, but like unless we give ownership of buildings to AI or to the government, there will be some very rich people owning all the real estate that we rent into, especially with the current trend of everything, like people are owning less and less houses. So people are buying less houses, private people are buying less houses and owning houses less, and instead they're renting a lot more. Meaning normal people, you and me, we don't set ourselves up for like our future's looking bleaker than our parents' future did, because we don't have the investment of a house or a home. Instead, we can look forward to living in as permanent rent tenants. I think this problem is much more pervasive in America than it is in Europe, but the same trends are also happening in Europe. And I'm sure it's just happening worldwide. So it is something that needs to be managed and needs to be fixed. And I don't even know, like, if resources wasn't really a problem, like, and we could just have AI computers doing everything for us and so on. There would still be a power struggle, right? Because some people would think we needed to do this and we should live this way, and other people want to live that way. So then there would be a power struggle inside that society, and with all power struggles comes like a resource struggle. So in the future, countries might not fight over a land, or they might, not so much they won't fight over it, but the output of the land they own, or their, what is it called, gross domestic product, the GDP, will be measured more on production capabilities rather than like any monetary thing. Because when your resources are essentially not worthless, but when that's not the primary issue, because you can just have AI farming it everywhere, so to some extent have robots, like AI robots farming it, and you can essentially grab asteroids from outer space, pulling it in and so on. You get access to a completely different range of resources than we do today. And when that happens, it's not so much how much resources you have, it's more about what is your production output. And that might be limited because you don't want to spend all of your resources building factories, right? You want some of those resources going into factories to produce robots to get resources or something. And you probably need some self-defense and so on. So if you can capture other companies or countries' factories and then increase your production relatively easy, like that's probably much more interesting than capturing their resources. Although capturing resources probably will never go out of style. So anybody thinking this MrBeast drama is gonna bring him down? I know a lot of people have really been like trying to bring MrBeast down for such a long time, and always saying that the only reason MrBeast does philanthropy is for monetary gain. And even if that's true, so what? Who cares if someone does something good as long as it benefits people, even if they're earning money on it? So it doesn't make the value of the help any lower that the person who helps someone else also make money off it. Like our society needs money, like we need to pay for shit and such, So if someone can make it a full-time job to help other people and actually earn money so they can expand their operation, help even more people do crazier things and so on, why is that a bad thing? And at least the philanthropy part, I don't feel like he's been dishonest about. Like, he's been very honest. Yeah, and he's been honest that they need to make money and they need sponsors and so on to actually help people, because helping people isn't free. Looking at the, like, I never saw any live stream with MrBeast, but I saw the video someone made where it really highlights like moving the goalpost during the sales and encouraging people to buy things all the time. And I think there's a lot of regulation and laws making that illegal. And I do see how it is like illegal lotteries, even though I'm not sure a lot of lawmakers would recognize it as such, because it's not what they understand as gambling. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens to it. So I don't think people will stop watching MrBeast because of these videos. I don't think that's gonna happen at all. Like, I think at least 95% of his audience doesn't give a shit. And the people trying to really push this message through, they also need to understand that a lot of MrBeast's viewers doesn't come from English speaking countries, so they need to localize their videos to hurt him more. And even when that happens, people don't really care. Like, people just want to consume content. So at the end of the day, as long as MrBeast keeps creating like good content that people want to see, this is gonna blow over and nobody's gonna care about it in like 3, 5, 10 years. This one seems better. I saw, I think it was yesterday, a new MrBeast video was released, and it had like the most dislikes for a MrBeast video ever. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but you also know most people don't see dislikes on YouTube anymore, right? Like, it's only nerds like us who install what do they even call them, like add-ons or plugins on our browser to see downvotes these days. Like, it's not, a normal viewer isn't gonna have that. And since I don't know how many people actually watch his videos from the phone, probably more than you think. But just looking at the data, like, I think last time I checked, 55% of internet users on browsers, they're from the phone. And I don't think phones can have these plugins and such. Not entirely sure though. Phones are just usually more limited than computers. And yeah, as long as he keeps making content and does something people want to watch, it's gonna blow over and people really don't give a shit. It's such a small percentage of the population who wants to do anything.
You'd bite the master that called you here, witch?
I come from a, like, my upbringing was relatively poor like in Danish standards, would probably be considered rich in other countries, or in some countries. But in Danish standards, it was quite poor. Like, I never went on overseas vacation, which is like, that's common for Danes to do at least once a year, where they go somewhere else. Either they go skiing somewhere in like Sweden, Norway, Italy, Switzerland, whatever, somewhere. And then a summer vacation somewhere else usually. That's like the middle class here. That's how that works. But like, we never had the money to do that, so I never went anywhere. And yeah, I was just used to growing up poor, so I never had
Have you ever seen the true face
like
of God?
semi-rich friends or anything like that. So when I started my university, I started having rich friends, or at least to me rich friends, like upper middle class, and like going to their homes and seeing how they lived and so on was so different. Like, they definitely had stuff I never had growing up, and it was just much nicer places. But one thing I noticed that really stuck with me, it was that all of those friends, and it was like they were all from the same city, and it was like a somewhat friend group. Like, all the kids grew up in the same elementary school, and the parents knew each other and so on, so relatively tight knit. But for some reason they all had a fucking lemon tree standing around, and I have no idea why. But I just noticed all of these rich people, they had a lemon tree in their home. And I noticed that for some reason, like, the richer the family was, the bigger the lemon tree, which is really weird. So ever since then, I got this like lemon tree superstition, or just like a little fun thing, that I like to look out for who has a lemon tree and how big is it, and then I kind of judge their wealth, like, for fun. I know it's not a real thing, based off it. So now I started seeing a lemon tree as a symbol of your wealth. So usually when my friend starts doing well and starts earning good money and like starts really getting somewhere in life, I usually give them a lemon tree, but I've never told them why I do it. So I think a lot of them are just fucking confused why I'm giving out random lemon trees. But it's basically just because, like, as an acknowledgement or encouragement that they've succeeded, or they are on their path to success, and now they have earned the lemon tree. Travel to there. I think it's just a little fun thing to do. Nothing serious or anything. Which makes it annoying because of course I bought a lemon tree for myself, and it has just been fucking infested with bugs ever since we bought it. And I keep trying to kill the bugs and get rid of them, but I haven't found any like available poison in Denmark where it's possible, so the only thing that's really gonna take care of it is just me manually getting rid of all the insects on every single leaf and not missing anything, and doing that every day for 2 weeks or something like that. And I think that's also a very good like analog metaphor for success. Like, if you're not willing to be disciplined and do the thing that needs to be done when you don't want to do it, you're not gonna find success. And yeah, so my lemon tree is still suffering because I haven't been willing to put in that kind of effort. But I keep telling myself someday it's gonna happen. I'm gonna save my lemon tree. Like, what's going on here? This doesn't make sense to me. Do I need to backtrack to find the exit to Act 4? Like, that sounds really wrong. Okay, so I just completely missed this door because I'm a fucking idiot. Okay, thank you. I could have wasted so much time.
Let's see where it comes from.
What is going on here? Some birds are dropping gold. I have no idea how many eggs are in Path of Exile. Like, based on this spacing, but I'm guessing they centered in the middle. So for all I know, that could be 6 eggs, I guess. This looks cool. It requires strength. Summon skeletons. Cover enemies in ash and hit. I don't know what that does, but that sounds like it does things. Summon skeletons take 29% of their maximum life per second as fire damage. Summon skeletons have avatar fire. What the fuck does that mean? But it seems completely useless unless I can re-roll the gems in there. And then how do I get 10 more strength? I guess I can get that in the passive tree somewhere. That's a strength node. So I need to sacrifice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more levels just for that. Ah, there's one over here. Okay, so just 1 level, then I can grab that. That would be much better. It's gonna be a huge downgrade using that one. Maybe not huge, but it is. It's gonna be a downgrade. Yeah. There's some of the blue skills I don't really need, like the aura, for example. I don't think that. I don't know. I don't think that does anything too cool. That's why I can only have one at a time. So the T aura is better than the R aura. So am I wearing 2 of the same gems? Purity of elements. Ray spectra. No? Then why do I have 2 different abilities? That does not make sense to me. Ah, shit. Will I find cooler and cooler gems the higher level I get? Or yeah, is this kinda it? And then I just get different things with my talent tree and items? Oh Jesus. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big boy. Oh, I have 2,000 gold. That's significantly more than I'm used to. Have you guys noticed how there's just less insects these days? Like, I don't know what it is, but we used to not be able to have a window open without, like with the lights on during evening, without our home just being invaded by all kinds of insects flying towards the light source. But these days it doesn't matter, like there's no insects coming in or anything. And that, of course, feels nice, not having to deal with that. But it also kind of worries me, like, what the fuck is happening? Like, where are the insects going? Why don't they exist anymore? I didn't put any gold into the town, did I? So none of my workers have actually done anything in all of this time. Ugh. That's a shame. What is this? Where is this quest? I think I can go up here. I saw the trailer for Rings of Power Season 2, and I don't know if Season 1, like Rings of Power Season 1, just lowered my expectation so much and like lowered the bar for my standard. But Season 2 actually looks like interesting.
Yes.
I didn't think I would watch it like after watching Season 1.
Go where you are needed.
But after seeing the trailer, it's like, okay, it might not be the greatest thing in the world, but it looks kind of interesting. Grants immunity. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah. It's probably fine.
Yes. Go
So,
where you are needed.
what kind of things does this do? I don't understand that. Enchant rings or amulets to auto modify maps. I don't know what a map is. Reforges. Right click this item, so like this. Target is not magic, okay. Place into an allocated jewel socket on the passive skill tree. Okay, I don't think I have any of that. Improve the quality of a flask or tincture. What the fuck is a tincture? That's the first time I've ever seen that. So these are reforges a magic with new random modifiers. Seems easy to go this way. Upgrades to normal. Reforges a rare item with new upgrades item. Bound rune, okay. Improves the quality of an armor. Reforges the color of sockets on an item. So it's this kind of thing I want for this one. Upgrades to normal, no. Rune smithing. No, Normal to random. Grants a passive skill refine point. Guess I might as well just use that. I think this should just be sold. This is just worse than what I have. Reforges the links between circuits and an item. Okay. Reforge the number of circuits. How many can I get on this bad boy? Like, it looks like I should be able to get 4, but I really don't know. Improves the quality of a weapon. Okay. So let's try to play around with this. Reforges the number of circuits on an item. Okay, so that's max. That was decent. That was worse. That was... do we want to go for all blue? Okay. We at least got 2. Yeah. Definitely spent way more than what made sense for that. So I think Raging Spirit and Infernal Legion, and then we get the strength node here. Wait, what? Like that. Then we can use that one. We're gonna put this one in the stash just because I think it still might be better.
Yes.
Gonna sell this one.
Go where you are needed.
Summon skeletons. Minion speed support or raise spectra. Do I want? Maybe that's good. Okay. Okay. Find a way into the mountain. So I go here. And then what did I get? Summon skeletons up better. That's what I'm reading. So I just want to check it out. See what that actually...
How do I keep ending up with something like this?
I'm not seeing any difference in my skeletons. I don't know. Summon skeletons cover enemies. So if we take this off, so the skeletons are not losing hit points. I want to put this on. Then they're burning down, so something must be happening. Okay, then minions deal more damage. But where do I enable damage numbers? Path of Exile damage numbers. Okay, so that's just a thing with Path of Exile, there's no damage numbers. Yeah. Yeah. Kinda makes sense. Since you can see the hit points on the enemies, so how much damage you deal isn't really as important as like how much is chunking them. Okay. Is there no waypoint here?
When I'm ready, I'm not before.
Oh, that was a big boy. Ah, he's tanky. There we go.
She just keeps getting the better of me, doesn't it?
I vowed to care for this empire with my
Get some crafting recipe.
I lied to myself, blinded by my lust for beauty.
It's kind of crazy how almost all like action RPGs have the same mechanics and close to the same skills and so on. Like just these thrust things that these makes. Just reminds me so much of Diablo 4. And I don't, not Diablo 4 necessarily, but Diablo, and I don't know who made it first, Diablo, Path of Exile, or some other game. And I think to a large extent it doesn't really matter. Like, they should copy the best things from each other to give the best experience to the consumer. There's no need, like there's no point in not copying something if it's better. Then you're just holding yourself back and delivering a worse product if you're not copying it. Okay, we do this event and then I'm gone. Fuck. Okay, these skeletons are not tanky at all. There we go. Oh, there's one guy left. Cool. Let's get this stuff sold and put some money into the city thingy.
What do you need now? You will be remembered.
I don't have as many scrolls of wisdom anymore. I wonder if I'm getting less or if I'm using more. The result is the same, so it doesn't matter
What do
too
you need
much.
now? You will be remembered.
Johan, take me to the city.
Need something, Smith?
Maybe 1600 gold. Enough for 1.5 days.
Is that the exile I spy?
I need bismuth and pumpkins. So that probably requires some upgrade. We have 4 doing amber.
One more for the mines.
Mining crimson.
One more for the mines.
Yeah, let's do this.
One more for the mines.
Let's see if we need to, well, We don't need to upgrade anything over here. We can just change. Pumpkin. Easy. How many do I have? I have crimson ore. I don't need any more of that.
Done.
Petrified. Yeah, sure. So I just need to upgrade that. So we can smelt or refine or whatever. Bismuth. Bismuth. Can smelt crimson ore.
We're just getting into the swing of things.
Why can I not? Jesus Christ. Crimson, iron bar, and petrified. So I do actually need someone. Jesus, go away with that shit. Need someone to keep doing this.
A good apprentice for Danik.
That means I need someone to keep farming it, so that's fine. And then shipping, yes, it didn't do anything because they didn't have any money. It's great. Cannot do that yet. Cannot do anything here. So now I'm just waiting.
Who would you like to hire?
Doesn't make sense to to hire any more people. What is the black market? Seems confusing. Cool. Thank you for watching, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.